red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also in the faces of people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry, and I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I will ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, it is. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Hello, welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living in Rogue Valley. Please stand as you're able for our opening song, Thank You for This Day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. This healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This life, thank you for this life, Spirit, thank you for this life. Thank you for this life, Spirit, thank you for this life. This beautiful, this beautiful, this beautiful life. This beautiful, this beautiful, this beautiful life. Friends, thank you for these friends, Spirit, thank you for my friends. Thank you for my friends, Spirit, thank you for my friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. This health, thank you for this health, Spirit, thank you for this health. Thank you for this health, Spirit, thank you for this health. This radiant, this radiant, this radiant health. This radiant, this radiant, this radiant health. This time, thank you for this time, Spirit, thank you for this time. Thank you for this time, Spirit, thank you for this time. This joyful, joyful, this joyful time. This joyful, this joyful, this joyful time. Wealth, thank you for this wealth, Spirit, thank you for this wealth. Thank you for this wealth, Spirit, thank you for this wealth. This opulent, this opulent, this opulent wealth. This opulent, this opulent, this opulent wealth. This day, thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. One more time. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day.
Alyssa Narum and Mitchell Miller. Love it when you two are here. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Center for Spiritual Living Rogue Valley in partnership with Unity of Medford. I'm talking about Unity of Phoenix today too, but this is Unity of Medford. And a big welcome too to those watching us online or watching the recording later on. I'm Kimberly Hawkins. I am the spiritual director here. As always, it is my pleasure to welcome each and every one of you, no matter where you may happen to be on your own personal spiritual journey. We are a radically inclusive, spiritually progressive faith community, and we teach tools to transform personal lives and help make a world that works for all. If you're here for the very first time, we'd love you to raise your hand. Let's just give you a little love. We promise we won't follow you home. Anybody first time? Welcome. Luke and Lindsay, I believe, welcome. If you guys didn't get a welcome packet, Viv's on the way right now to give you one with a little bit of information about us. We're so glad you decided to join us this morning. Let's see, let me introduce our cast of characters this morning. You have met Alyssa and Mitchell. We're in for a treat. Yeah. Reverend Stephanie Clark will be on the podium this morning with us to do our opening prayer and reading. And practitioner Kathy Green did our meditation this morning, and she is sitting high watch. She's praying throughout the service for everyone's best good. If you haven't already done so, please turn cell phones off or in airplane mode. And I think that's it, except for one thing. I'd like us to acknowledge this morning once again that we are meeting on the ancestral homelands of the Letgawa people and neighboring tribes here in the Rogue Valley who inhabited and tended this land long before we were here. So we honor them this morning, the indigenous people, their culture, their wisdom, their struggles, and their resilience. I'm going to turn things back over right now to Alyssa and Mitchell to prepare us for our invocation and reading. And I always ask, after this particular song, please hold your applause because we'll go straight into prayer. Thank you.
Beyond what's seen, all are sown in the land. Beyond what's seen, shadows laid to rest, nothing but the best. Light unknown in the land beyond what's seen. Shadows laid to rest, nothing but the best. All are home there.
And so we simply flow within to the land beyond what's seen, the non-physical dimension, the infinite power, presence, timeless essence that is the power that governs, directs, sustains and maintains the entire universe. Some people call that God. Some people call that source energy, Holy Mother, Father, Divine Creator. It's the one power, the holy power, all that is, and I am that, and so too is everyone in this sacred sanctuary. Each one here is a beloved emanation of the Most High. Each one is imbued with all of the qualities, the aspects of the one power that made them. Never to be separated, never to be separate. It is impossible to be separated from the power that made us out of itself. So knowing that we are God beings in essence, living, moving, having our being in a spiritual universe, expressing through our humanity on earth as it is in heaven, I speak the word for this service this morning and know that everything has already been prepared, pre-orchestrated, everything has already been put in place by the Spirit to fill up whatever is seemingly missing, to address what is seemingly out of alignment, to bring back into remembering that which has seemingly been forgotten. And I know that my dear sister, Reverend Kimberly, is the beloved and holy and clear mouthpiece for the Word of God, that her talk this morning is a blessing to each one of us, for it is not Kimberly's talk, but it is the power, the presence that made her, that brought her to this point in consciousness to deliver this particular talk this morning. And I know that she is receptive and available to the Word of God as it flows through her to us. And each one here is yielded and surrendered to that divine message. So each one here is filled full with the awareness of their true identity as sons and daughters of the Most High. I bless everybody who has any part in bringing this service together, any and all the volunteers who have said yes to being of service. Bless our beloved musicians. I know that everybody who has said yes to being here today is blessed and ever blessed, because something is unfolding here that is magnificent and that is unpredictable and has not been imagined before. But it's because we're here in this divine configuration that the Spirit can be unleashed in new and vibrant and glorious ways. How grateful I am. I do give thanks for the words spoken, for the divine outcome of our time together this day. I do give thanks for everybody who is here, who makes a difference in the transformational unfolding that is occurring in this space. I release the word now into law. I know the work is done in consciousness already, and so I let it be, and so it is. Amen. Thank you. So, in honor of Martin Luther King Day, which is tomorrow, and in honor of Unity, our partner, I'm reading from the Daily Word, and it's today's reading, January the 18th. The affirmation is, as I affirm peace, I help create a peaceful world. In 1964, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, "It is not enough to say we must not wage war. It is necessary to love peace and sacrifice for it. We must concentrate not merely on the negative expulsion of war, but the positive affirmation of peace. Of course, I will work toward creating the kind of world I wish to see, investing my effort and energy to ending conflict, discrimination, and other kinds of negativity. But I also put my energy into creating harmony, cooperation, opportunity, and other positive outcomes. Today I affirm that peace is dawning all over the world, blessing all people with warm feelings of cooperation and togetherness. I affirm peace is here, even as I strive to create it." And the Bible verse is taken from the first book of Thessalonians, chapter 5, verse 23. May the God of peace itself sanctify you entirely, and may your spirit and soul and body be kept sound. Thank you.
Oopsies, I'm not ready.
I am a drop in the ocean, and I'm under the notion that my thoughts and my actions ripple into waves. And while we move through this water, as sons and as daughters, may our hearts always guide us to live in loving ways. So every seed that I sow, may it nourish every soul. For every action I know comes back to me,
Comes back to me.
comes back to me. Yeah, sometimes I may stumble as I strive to be humble, so I look to my guidance. It shows me how to be. I wash out all frustration with a fresh conversation where we treat one another as I'd want them to treat me. Every seed that I sow, may it nourish every soul. For every action I know comes back to me,
Comes back to me.
comes back to me. So every seed that I sow, may it nourish every soul. For every action I know comes back to me,
Comes back to me.
comes back to me, comes back to me,
Comes back to me.
comes back to me.
You two. Oh, are those both brand new songs?
Yeah, we.
On the right here.
I wrote, the
No.
one we just sang, we're on the right here.
You wrote them on the ride here?
Right, we're gonna do something else, and
The other one was a few days ago, but that one was on the way here.
I have chills. Oh my gosh. They live in Mount Shasta, so at least I'm glad because you get the time to write. And you know, I gotta tell you, it was hard not to clap after Mitchell's song too. It wasn't it? Yeah. Oh my. My. So I think after that song, when we go into our prayer, maybe we could at least do sign applause, which is what I did today. You guys are a treasure. Oh my gosh. How about that talent, huh? God-given, right? God-given. So in January, for the month, we are reviewing the basics, New Thought basics, that we teach both in Science of Mind, Centers for Spiritual Living, and in Unity. So we basically cover what Ernest Holmes, the founder of Science of Mind, shared in the textbook called The Science of Mind. The first 4 chapters, which are called The Thing Itself, which is what? God, Spirit, all that is, right? The way it works is chapter 2, what it does, and chapter 3 is how it works. This is a very important chapter, and this is what we're going to talk about today. Because studying principles and learning them is one thing, but if we don't understand them and put them into use, what good are they, right? I used to attend the Unity Church in Phoenix, Arizona, and there was a big sign out in front of this big church, and it said, Unity of Phoenix, Church of Practical Christianity. Practical Christianity. So what we teach is how to put into practice the same things Jesus taught us when he was here on earth. But you know, he meant, these things and more ye shall do, he meant for us to use them as well. The founder of Ernest Holmes said this, regarding our spiritual scientific principles, I'll talk about that word scientific in a minute, we're likely to indulge in too much theory and too little practice. Why does he call them scientific? Because they're provable. Prayer works. And if we pay attention to what we're thinking about, what we're praying about, what we're focusing on, and how that power brings about change in our lives, for the good or the bad, right? If we focus on the negative, what do we get more of? The negative. So they are scientific in that they can be used and proven. So what I want to talk about today is something that we talk about a lot in New Thought, which doesn't really appear in traditional Christianity, but does appear way back in the ancient mystic masters from all cultures. It's called the law. You hear us, when I think Rev Stephanie finished her prayer today, she said, I release it into the law. What the heck is the law? I want to talk about that. There's an aspect of the divine that is conscious and active. God created the manifest universe. God created you, created me, right? And that's the impulsion that is love. That's the love aspect of the divine. But there's another aspect of the divine called the law, which is totally receptive and subjective to our thought. Just as God creates, we are given the ability to plant seeds, speak our word, pray our prayers, focus on what we focus on to bring about results. We don't do the results. We don't make the results. God does. But this thing called the law, this responsive part of God, is everywhere, just as God is everywhere. There's nowhere where it's not. So it's both around us and within us. And so we can use the law if we allow God's good to flow through us by focusing on what it is we want. This is a concept that maybe is a little bit hard to grasp if we came from traditional churches. But it's a very powerful one. Ernest, in the Science of Mind textbook, uses the analogy of pig iron. So the law is what we call unformed substance. In other words, physicists know this. All possibilities exist at every moment, right? All energy is waves, and until we focus on it, then it becomes a particle, and it becomes real. So there's something called unformed substance. In other words, substance, potential, waiting to be delivered into physical form, awaiting our thought, awaiting the mold that we give it mentally. So Ernest uses the example of pig iron. In an iron foundry, pig iron is melted from a solid into a liquid, and then it's poured into molds to take shape. Pig iron doesn't care what shape it takes, just as the law doesn't care what shape it takes, but we can form it the way we want to form it. But the thing is, this unformed substance, when it appears in the physical, can be changed at any moment as well. So conditions in our life are here, they come to pass. We can change them. Just as pig iron could be remelted and molded into something else, so what's happening in our lives, whether it's ill health or whether it's inharmonious relationships or lack of finances, all of that can change when we change our thinking. In other words, when we deliver a different mold into the law to be responded to. Does it make sense? I hope so. Okay. And this is the thing. It works when we have faith in it. Remember what Jesus said, if you have faith the size of a mustard seed, you can tell that mountain to get out of here and it'll get out of here. That's not exactly what he said, but you know what I mean. So this is one of my favorite quotes from the textbook. We can only use the law to the extent that we understand it. And here's what Ernest said about the law. If we believe that it will not work, it really works by appearing not to work. When we believe that it cannot and will not, then according to the principle, it simply does not. But when it does not, it still does, only it does according to our belief that it will not. How about that? Yeah. So again, a reminder to be aware of what we put in our conscious mind. We need to be aware of conditions that are not to our liking, whether it's war going on in the world or disharmony or whatever conditions in our lives are not to our liking. We don't pretend they don't exist. We don't stick our head in the sand. We acknowledge them and deal with them, but our focus needs to be on what we want. The greater truth, that is, we are one, and we are meant to love each other as Jesus taught. We are meant to get along. We are meant to create and to be peace and peaceful. There's a phrase about let our conversation be in heaven, right? Let our conversation. So it's so tempting, isn't it, these days, to like wallow or complain. I know I can do it. I can get caught in it. Watch the news and you want to, groan about something. No matter which side of the aisle you're from, there's something to groan about. But that's not helpful. It's not helpful because what are we seeding into that law? What mold are we providing that unformed substance? So active spiritual practices, right? Using affirmations, using prayer, using meditation. I'm going to use a prescription a little later on what to do here, but I wanted to talk about this. What's in our consciousness right now, I think could be so much greater, and what we experience could be so much greater than what we're experiencing in our personal lives, in our life as a nation, in our life as a world. I'm going to go back to a story I know all of you have probably heard many times. Do you remember the story about Roger Bannister, who was the first man to break the 4-minute mile? There had been a record that stood for 9 years. Nobody could break 4 minutes when they ran the mile. And there was this collective consciousness about it that it's impossible. It's humanly impossible to run faster than 4 minutes to run a mile. And some people even believed that if someone did it and tried, they'd probably die trying. Now that's kind of a hard mold to put in the consciousness of an athlete, right? If I'm going to die trying, maybe I better not give it all my all. So in 1954, Roger, who was a medical student at the time, ran the mile in 3 minutes, 59.4 seconds. Breaking the previous record. The previous record was 4:01.4. He broke that record by 2 seconds. And what happened? The very next month, June of that same year, another man from, his name was John, searching for his last name, he was an Australian runner. He ran it in even a faster time, 3 minutes, 57.9 seconds. John Landy was his name. And in the next 10 years, 336 runners broke the 4-minute mile. Right? Why? Because they knew it was possible. They had faith. Now, it's interesting, because doing a little research here, I realized that the record now stands for the mile, for men, stands at 3 minutes, 43 seconds plus. That record has stood since 1999. By my calculations, July of 1999, that's almost 27 years. What's up with that? Right? And I think women will break the 4-minute mile. They have not. They're, the person who's come closest is an African runner. I'm trying to remember what country. It's that country that has a lot of great runners. And she ran it in 4 minutes, 6 seconds. Now, she's 6 seconds off. I don't know if she'll do it, but I'm sure a woman will do it at some point, right? Now, I share this because of the power of what we believe we can do, and we're still limiting ourselves. I really feel we are. So how many of you, when you were little, or maybe you've read to children or grandchildren, the story, The Little Engine That Could? How many know that story? I loved that story. Remember, it was, real briefly, a little engine filled with a train filled with toys and candy and food for children was trying to get up a mountain to deliver everything to the kids. And the engine broke down. And the toys were upset, and everybody was upset. And two big engines came by that the toys were calling out, oh, please, could you help us? And I don't have time for you. I'm delivering people, or I'm delivering logs. I can't do it. And then this little blue engine, she was female, by the way, came by. And they begged her, and she said, well, I don't know, but I want to help you. And she hooked herself up to the train, and she said, I think I can do this. And the whole way up the mountain, remember what she said? I think I can, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. And she got up the mountain and delivered the toys. I love that story because it's not only, the theme is not only positive thinking, right? But she was in service. She had the willingness and the desire to do that, to serve the children, to make them happy. So fast forward from my childhood to a time when I was working for a TV station in Phoenix, Arizona. At the time it was called Cool News 10, KOOL. It was a CBS affiliate. I was hired to be the assistant producer for the hour-long 6 p.m. news. Now, mind you, I had no experience in television news. I had never taken a journalism class in my life. My dad's the one that had encouraged me to switch careers. I'd been a classroom teacher. I could write. I was good at writing. I was a French and English major. But they were desperate, and this is typical, at least in those days. I don't have my finger on the pulse of TV news stations now, but the assistant producer on the hour-long newscast was about to go on a maternity leave. I mean, she was ready to pop. And they hadn't hired anybody, so I think they were pretty desperate and figured I might be able to fill her shoes. So in I waltzed the first day of work, and I'm supposed to have a week with Anita to train to know what I'm doing. Well, the first day she was there, she didn't show up the second day. And the third day, she was in labor. She never came back for 6 weeks. So there I was, sitting at a typewriter. We were not computerized in those days, going, oh my gosh, what am I doing? How am I going to? Because there was one producer and one assistant producer to put together the script for a whole hour newscast. So I sat at the typewriter, and this was before I was in New Thought at all, but I was familiar with affirmations, and I was thinking about the little engine. I think I can, I think I can. I started with I think I can, I know I can, and then I used this affirmation. I clearly remember sitting at that typewriter in the newsroom, terrified, going, I can do this, this is easy. I can do this, this is easy. And we got through it. She came back after 6 weeks. They made me a cub reporter, and I ended up having a 6-year career as a television on-air news reporter and morning anchor, and then went on to produce documentaries and specials. And it was one of the happiest times of my life and the most creative times. And it all was possible because I didn't run screaming from the newsroom, I can't do this. I said, I can do this. This is easy. Now, think about this. What did Jesus teach? Well, let me first tell you this story. Someone in our community a week ago recommended a book to me. Some of you, I know Rev Steph's read it. Anybody in here read The Life and Teachings of the Masters of the Far East? A few of you. Yeah. This book was written 100 years ago, 1924. I read the first of 6 volumes this week, and it's what we teach. It's exactly what we teach. And the masters themselves, well, let me back up. This is the story. 11 scientists took a trip to the Far East. Now, these were men, and they were scientists, so they were very, which brain? Left brain, right? Very logical, wanting proof, very cynical and skeptical. They spent, I think it was 3.5 years, 2.5 years, in countries like India, Tibet, China, Persia at the time. And they met with these masters, and they were astounded and became believers. The masters did things like turn water into ice with their hands. They did things like teletransport. If you've ever read Yogananda's autobiography, the autobiography of Yoga, the masters used to be able to go from one place to another without physical means. They'd just go. They could bilocate, by the way. They could be in 2 places at once. What else? They lived to be 500 years old or more in their physical bodies, and once they died, they were able to come back and be seen by the masters that were still in physical form, on and on. One of the things that they could do, that the scientists watched them do, was literally walk on water. There was a stream, and the expedition that was traveling from town to town needed to cross the stream, and the Americans had to walk miles and miles around an impediment to get across the stream. The masters just walked across the water. Now, really, think about it. What happened in the Bible? You remember the story in Matthew where the disciples are out in a boat on the Sea of Galilee. A storm is coming up. There's big waves. There's winds. It's very scary. Jesus walks on water out to them. They're scared at first. They think he's a ghost. Peter says, "Master, if it's you, invite me out there." And so Jesus beckons Peter. And do you remember? Peter actually started to walk on water. But then what happened? He looked up, he saw the wind, he got scared, and he started to sink. And so Jesus pulled him out and said, "O ye of little faith, why do you doubt?" I'm asking myself that lately. Why do I doubt? Why do I doubt that anything is possible? Anything Jesus did, he said, "These things and more ye shall do." He turned water into wine, right? He healed the sick, he raised the dead. Well, hello, if we believe what he said, all of that's possible. Now, the other thing about these masters, that this expedition, the guy who wrote the book, by the way, is Baird Spalding. I think they were American. Thinking British? British, maybe. I'm not sure. Do you know, Luke? I can't remember. Anyway, one of the things the masters also did was, where was I going? Oh boy. Rev Stephanie offered, "I found my place and it's easy." Notice she used past tense already. I love that. Well, I talked about walking on water, and then what was the other thing I wanted to talk about? Shoot, this is funny. Communicated without words. They lived for, oh yeah, I know what it was. They lived for 500 years. Isn't that interesting? 500 years. Charles Fillmore, who is the founder of Unity Church, said this at age 94. My understanding is he had written it in a book previously, but at age 94, he used to say this affirmation in the morning when he got up. 94 years old. Charles Fillmore. "I fairly sizzle with zeal and enthusiasm and spring forth with a mighty faith to do the things that ought to be done by me." All right? So this is the kind of mindset I'd like us to reclaim. I really would like us to reclaim. And reading this book has been so informational. And by the way, the book talks about the law. You don't see the law, I don't think, in the Bible, but you see it all over here. All over here. It's in the boomerang effect, just like you talked about in your song or sang about. What we put out comes back to us, the law. So I recommend the book. I'm going to backtrack a little bit now, because when we're doing the basics this month, we're also combining indigenous wisdom, because our book of the month has been Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Wall Kimmerer. And so when we talk about using the law for our good, I just want to remind us that we can use it for the good of everyone. Kathy's sitting high watch right now. She is praying for the highest and best good of everybody here, everyone watching online, and how important that is. So we have the power not only to shape our own lives with the molds we create, but we have the power to shape others' lives, the lives of the world, in a good way for peace and so on. And I think sometimes we just forget that. So there's a beautiful story, and all throughout this book, Braiding Sweetgrass, the indigenous beliefs in oneness and the indigenous beliefs that we cooperate and we're in reciprocal relationship with all of nature. So there's a story in one of the chapters about harvesting sweetgrass. And Robin was taught as a child, when she picked sweetgrass, first of all, to ask permission of the plants before she picked it. Then to honor the plant with an offering, perhaps coffee or tobacco, to honor it. And then when she picked it, instead of pulling it up by the root, she would carefully, like you'd cut a flower, break it so that it didn't harm the roots. And then, of course, was grateful afterwards as well and gave thanks, honoring the oneness of all of life. Well, at some point, Robin Wall Kimmerer received a doctorate in, I think it was probably botany. And she had some students, and one of the students wanted to do a thesis on what was the best practices for tending sweetgrass. So she had 3 groups in this experiment she did for her doctorate. One group was treated, the sweetgrass was treated like Robin was taught to do, honoring it, asking its permission, carefully picking the stalks. Another group in the sweetgrass gardens was treated in much the same way, but just pulled up by the roots, not pulled up carefully. The third group was just left alone. It was left alone. And one might guess, which one would you guess might be the best outcome? The first one. Who said that? All right. Anybody have another thought? All right. Well, you're almost right. The first 2 did very well, whether it was picked up by the root or not, because it was honored apparently, and the sacrifices made and the gratitude was given. Both of those gardens fared very well. The one that didn't, that turned brown, was the one that was ignored, which to me and to Robin, first of all, indicated this reciprocal nature, how important it is, the interaction, the love, the attention, the honoring. It's important with the animal world, with the plant world. So it's just a reminder for me, and I offer a reminder to you, when we pray, let's be about praying this week. Let's be about praying for the wildlife species in this area that we have inherited from indigenous people. Let's be praying for the birds, many of whom are hungry, and as you know, Viv and many others in our congregation are busy feeding. Let's pray for peace around the world, knowing that that mold we create is powerful. It's not nothing. And I am in the mood right now to be open to what else we might do, not just running a mile for women in under 4 minutes, but what else might we do? How long might we live productively? How might we physically help heal somebody? Maybe not ourselves, but Jesus himself said, it's not I, but what? It's the Father within who doeth the work. If we have faith, if we allow that spiritual force to move through us, I believe just about anything is possible, as long as we're working for good. Remember, it's God's good pleasure to give us the kingdom, but it's not God's good pleasure to take anything away from anybody. So we can't be praying for negative outcomes, right? We have to honor even our enemies and love them, which is the beautiful message, of course, of Martin Luther King, you know? All right, I think I've covered what I want to cover, except I want to read to you. Rev Steph was going to read this morning at my request, and then we decided that we didn't want to forget Martin Luther King. What a beautiful, beautiful soul. And a friend of mine, a colleague at United Church of Christ today, for his whole message, he is reading the letter from Birmingham jail that Martin Luther King wrote when he was incarcerated. Wrote, by the way, on scraps of newspapers and magazines, and he edited it a little bit because it's so long. But if you have never read that letter, oh my gosh, incredibly inspiring. What I want to read to you right now is the global vision from Centers for Spiritual Living, which is in keeping with the teachings of Robin Wall Kimmerer and the indigenous peoples of this oneness of all of life. We envision all people, all beings, and all life as expressions of God. We see a world in which each and every person lives in alignment with his or her highest spiritual principle, emphasizing unity with God and connection with each other, a world in which individually and collectively we are called to a higher state of consciousness and action. We envision humanity awakening to its spiritual magnificence and discovering the creative power of thought, a world where each and every person discovers his or her own personal power and ability to create an individual life that works within a world that works for everyone. We envision a world in which we live and grow as one human global family, one global family that respects and honors the interconnectedness of all life. A world where this kinship with all life prospers and connects through the guidance of spiritual wisdom and experience. We envision a world where personal responsibility joins with social conscience in every area of the political, corporate, academic, and social sectors, providing sustainable structures to further the emerging global consciousness. We envision a world where each and every person has enough food, a home, and a sense of belonging, a world of peace and harmony, enfranchisement, and justice. We envision a world in which resources are valued, cared for, and grown, and where there is generous and continuing sharing of these resources. We envision a worldwide culture in which forgiveness, whether for errors, injustices, or debts, is the norm. We envision a world in which has renewed the emphasis on beauty, nature, and love through the resurgence of creativity, art, and aesthetics. We envision a world that works for everyone and for all creation. Let's go into prayer. Let's go upstairs. Turning once again aside from all the conditions, whether they be favorable or unfavorable, that we see around us in our own life, in the life of our world, knowing that there's a place outside the physical, as our musicians so beautifully sang, a place in the invisible where there's perfection, where there's love, where there's unity, the source of where we came from, that unformed substance waiting to be shaped into a world that does work for everyone. This power, this responsive law, this infinite creative principle is everywhere, all-knowing, all-powerful, in and through all of life, in and through me, in and through you. And we've been given the gift of being able to create what we want to see. We are one with this power. We can't be separate. We can imagine we are, and no one can be separate from it. We need not judge anybody whose actions may upset us. They too come from this same source. We are made of the same divine cloth, the same fabric. So let us learn to dream bigger, as Martin Luther King did, to reach for that heavenly realm where all of life is honored and cared for. Let us return to the indigenous ways of asking permission and giving thanks and honoring the plants, the fish, the animals, the four-leggeds, the winged, every manifestation of God's love. Let us know that there are no limits except in our own doubt, our own unbelief. And let us help each other when we begin to doubt. Let us remember that we are each the face of God, and that we are given this power, this gift, this privilege to create a world that works for all. I give such deep gratitude for everyone here listening. I give gratitude for our teachings. I also give thanks for all of those worshiping in different ways, in different venues, whether it's a mosque, a temple, an ashram, a yoga mat, out in nature, knowing there are many paths, one God, one source. In great gratitude to be able to share this with you today, in great gratitude for what is being seated within each of our hearts, I release this word into that law, knowing it hears and it's answered, and we say together, and so it is. Amen.
samasta Sukhino bhavantu Loka samasta Sukhino bhavantu Loka samasta Sukhino bhavantu Loka samasta Sukhino bhavantu Om Mani Padme Hum 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. May all beings of this world be happy and free. May all beings of this world be happy and free. May all beings of this world be happy and free. May all beings of this world be happy and free. And may peace on earth reign forever and evermore. 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 Loka samasta Sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta Sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta Sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta Sukhino bhavantu. Jai 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 Guru Dev, Jai Jai Guru Dev, Jai 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 Guru Dev, Jai Jai Guru Dev, Jai 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 Guru Dev, Jai Jai Guru Dev, Jai 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 Guru Dev, Jai Jai Guru Dev. Loka samasta Sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta Sukhino bhavantu. May all beings of this world be happy and free. May all beings of this world be happy and free. And may peace on earth reign forever and evermore. 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 Loka samasta Sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta Sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta Sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta Sukhino
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It is time now for our tithes and offerings. If you need an envelope for cash, they exist. They live in the backs of the purple chairs. For those watching online, you'll see a QR code if you'd like to make a donation. We certainly appreciate that. And just thank you, big thank you. We are a very healthy, financially healthy community. We'll share more at our community meeting, is that what we call it? Annual meeting at the end of the month next Sunday. But we're quite healthy and quite grateful to everybody who helps support us. Our giving affirmations up there, if you will say it with me, please. Graciously I give from a place of love, knowing that as I give, so do I richly receive. So it is.
We shall live in harmony, for peace has come as we are one. We are one, we are one. I am you, you are me, we are one. And in this unity we shall live in harmony, for peace has come as we are one. For in this unity we shall live in harmony, for peace has come as we are one.
Thank you. I'm going to invite Treasure, our practitioner, Treasure Wild, up for announcements. Got a lot going on here. Yep.
We do. What a happening place. Thank you. That was oh, good. And I get a peek at that book. I'd like to get a hold of that book. That was a good one.
6 volumes.
Yeah.
That was
beautiful.
volume 1. Yeah.
Yes, greeting to everyone here and those who are joining us online. For those of you here in the house, please join us for food and fellowship right after the service in Bosworth Hall. There's a lot happening after service today. Practitioners will be meeting in the living room, and choir rehearsal will take place here in the sanctuary. Looking ahead to the week, men's group meets tomorrow at 11. Tai Chi, poetry is spiritual practice, and miracle makers all meet this week at their usual days and times. Our LGBTQIA+ support group meets this Tuesday evening at 6 p.m. They're excited to share their new name, Rogue Valley Rainbow Connection. All are welcome. A 6-week accredited class, Visioning a Way of Life, begins Wednesday, January 21st from 5 to 8 p.m. There's still time to sign up. Regular tuition is $195, which includes a $45 registration fee. All are welcome as well. The Book of the Month discussion group with Reverend Kimberly meets again next Wednesday, January 28th from, is that next Wednesday? It's a week from Wednesday. A week from Wednesday from 11 to 12:30 here at the center. The group will listen to a chapter read by the author of Braiding Sweetgrass and then discuss it. This is a free offering, and everyone is welcome to attend, whether or not you joined the previous session. Our annual meeting, as Reverend Kimberly mentioned, will take place after the service next Sunday, January 25th. Please come hear a summary of the past year, learn about our plans for the future, and participate in the election of new board members. I'm going to invite DeLacy to come forward. She has a few fun things to share with you.
Come on, DeLacy. We love you.
Hi, everybody. So basically, we're going to be having a potluck next week for our annual meeting. And it's not just a meeting, you guys. We're going to be showing this amazing and awesome slideshow for our year that Shannon's been working on. And so come see all the fun we've been having this year. And we already started this year having more fun. So join us if you're, doing that. So, and then we also have a WhatsApp. I was going to mention that too. We have a WhatsApp. It's a social group where we go dancing and stuff. So see us, and hopefully we get that in the newsletter soon. Also, we have a new sign-up sheet. We're going to start supplementing Michael's Sundays food because we've been doing a lot of stuff on Sundays here, and so we want to keep more people. So please stay and fellowship and make friends and get lots of hugs. Don't run out right away, please. We love you. And but the sign-up sheet's in there, and so we're going to do a month at a time. And so we're just asking people. It says really on there just simple stuff like a green salad, and then so we need like 4 people a week to bring stuff. One person bring donut, one person bring a couple dozen cookies, one person bring a green salad, and then just like a veggie tray or a fruit tray or something like that, just to kind of supplement the soup, the yummy, yummy soup. So, but anyway, so sign up please for those two things. Also, we have a sign-up sheet in there for looking for volunteers who are just whatever you guys do or like to help with. We have a couple organization projects coming up we would like help with. And so, but if you don't like that, that's okay. Sign up anyway with whatever you like to do, and we'll make sure that you can like to do it with us. Okay, thanks.
Oh, she's pretty good at this. All right. We're looking for a volunteer to serve as an auctioneer for an upcoming fundraiser. Please see DeLacy Patterson if you're interested in doing that part. And remember to check your weekly e-newsletter for all of our happenings. If you don't receive it, there's always a printed copy of the current week available in the information table there in Bosworth Hall. You can sign up there or on our website or by emailing us at cslroguevalley@gmail.com so that you too can receive that newsletter in your inbox. Finally, we have one shared prayer box at the back of the sanctuary for CSL and Unity. Prayer request forms are available in the backs of the purple chairs and at the back of the sanctuary. And I think that's it.
Thank you, Treasure Wild. Thank you. I'd like to just put in a plug for wearing our name tags. Whether you're a long-term member or a new, it's really great so that new people can get to know you and vice versa. There's always temporary name tags you can make out when you walk in. There's a sign-up sheet in the Bosworth Hall for a permanent one, and we wait till we get 8 names, which doesn't take long these days, and you'll have one that's on the wall when you get in there, okay? I'm gonna call the practitioners up. Kathy, did I forget something?
No, I wanted to add something. Your board already brought extra food today, so if you're hungry, feel free to... Oh, yeah.
The board brought food today. Yes, they did. Thanks to the board. Let's see, 2 things. These folks are available after service for what we call a spiritual mind treatment and affirmative prayer. They love to pray. They're good at it. Please do not leave here with a heavy heart, whether it's something in your personal life, something in the global heart that is troubling you. Come up to one of them. The 2 that were on duty today, Rev. Steph and Kathy, will be available in private spaces, either in my office, in that part of the building, or in the living room. The others can, you can cozy on up here, but please take advantage. They're so good at prayer. And speaking of prayer, before we turn it over to our musicians for our closing song, I wanted to read this to you. It's another quote from Ernest Holmes, and it's about how we should use prayer, how we should use our affirmations, like the one I did. This is easy, I can do it. Here's what he said. We should work not with anxiety, but expectancy. Not by coercion, but by conviction, with conviction. Not through compulsion, but in a state of conscious recognition and receptivity. We do not have to drive or push, but we must accept and believe. We should then leave everything to the law, expecting a full and complete proof of our faith. If you're comfortable, I'm going to invite you to stand for our closing song.
I send my love over the mountain, I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heavens, and it returns to me. Joy, I send my joy over the mountains.